Okay, so today we'll be looking into the CAN TP. So in the last lecture, actually, I have shown you. Uh, just one second. Let me need the pointer. Okay, yeah. So in the last lecture, actually, I have just shown you about the CAN. So I have shown you the CAN format, what it is. Today we'll be looking into the CAN TP and why it is required. So first of all, just look into the AutoSAR architecture. So in the red, you actually have the you actually have the driver, the MCAL layer. In the green, you have the issue abstraction layer, and in the blue, you have the service layer. So in the last lecture, we have actually seen the CAN driver, the MCAL part. Today, we will be looking into this service layer. So on this service layer, we'll be looking particularly into the CAN TP. So why this CAN TP is required? So in the last lecture, actually, I have shown you maximum 8 bytes of data we can actually transfer through the classic CAN. But if you want to transfer more than 8 bytes of data, we need some software protocols. Uh, so we generally need more than 8 bytes of data if you are using the DCM or if you have any higher level protocols over here. So for this, we need actually one software component which can actually translate this 8 bytes of data into more than 8 bytes of data. So let's just see how this is done. So yeah, one more thing. So what happens whenever you are coding for the CAN driver, and for one of the ID, for one of the CAN message ID, if you have configured it for the CAN TP, it will go through this path only. So even if it is less than 8 bytes of data, it won't go via this path. It will go via CAN TP only if you have configured any one of the CAN messages ID. So if the CAN message ID is more than 8 bytes of, if you need more than 8 bytes of data, or if you need less than 8 bytes of data, it will pass through this software component only. So let's see into how this is done. So I guess you are clear with the objective what we have. So suppose you want to transmit some data like 10, 0011223334 up to suppose 100 bytes total. But so for that we need the CAN TP. Right now in the CAN TP you can just transmit up to only 8 bytes of data. So if you are transmitting less than 8 bytes of data via the CAN TP module, you can do it via the first single frame. In single frame, we'll be looking into the frame format of the single frame. So in single frame, what will happen? You will be sending the data. The receiver will receive it, and it will get the data what it's required. Uh, when you are sending more than 8 bytes of data, you have to send the first frame. After sending the first frame, the receiver will send the uh, flow control, and after you got the flow control, you will be sending the consecutive frame. So suppose you want to, as we have seen, if you want to transfer the data like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. Yeah, percentage. Okay, so if you want to transmit up to 8 bytes of data, you can do without the CAN TP. But if you are using this channel for the CAN TP, so first your single frame will go. So in the single frame, uh, this data will be transmitted. So this data will be actually you will be actually seeing on this line being transmitted. But if you want to transmit more than 8 bytes of data, so suppose you want to transmit 70, 80, 90, and so on till some random number like this. So in this case, first of all, first frame will go. So it will fragment the data first frame. Then it will be sending some flow control, which we will be looking into, and then consecutive frames. So after that, rest of the frames will be sending. So as we have just seen, we have if you are sending less than 8 bytes of data, we have the single frame. But if you want to send more than 8 bytes of data, we have three more frames: the first frame, the flow control, and consecutive frame. So let's look into the frame format. So in the if you're sending less than 8 bytes of data, this D0, D1, D2, D3 are the bytes. Okay, so in the first byte, in the 0th byte, the first 4 byte will actually show the will actually represent the ID of the CAN message. So if it is single frame, the ID will be 0. If it is first frame, the ID will be 1. If it is consecutive frame, the ID will be 2, and if it is flow control, the ID will be 3. So in single frame, the next byte will be the length. So next 4 bits will actually show the length, and after that the data which you want to send will continue. So let's take this with an example. So suppose you want to transmit data 0x01, 0x02, 0x03, 0x04. So in the first byte we have 0 which shows the ID, it is a single frame. Then we have 4, so it shows we are transmitting 4 bytes of data. And after that you see we have 1 2 3 4. So if you actually look into the CAN line, if you are transmitting any data through CAN TP, this will be the whole thing going on, going into the CAN message. So it will be 04, then will be 01, 02, 03, 04. Okay, so now let's look into how we'll be sending more than 8 bytes of data. So take an example, you have to send some data like 0x01 2 3 4 up to 0e. So in this, the first in the D0 byte we have the ID, so that is represented by 1 because we are sending the first frame. And then we have the 4 bits of the D0, and the 8 bytes of the D1. We will be having the length, so the length is 0 0e, which shows we are sending some 15 bytes of data. So here is the length, and after that the data will continue. After that the data will continue 0x01 5 6 up to 6. And after sending this 6, the receiver will be sending the flow control. So in flow control, first the ID will be 3. Then the next byte will be the flow control status. So whenever you are sending the data, the receiver will say whether it is ready to accept the data, or it wants the sender to wait for some time, or if there is any overflow, or if it wants to abort the communication. So if the sender is ready to accept the data, it will be sending 0. So here we have 0. If the sender wants to abort the data, it will be sending 2. And if the sender wants that is if the receiver wants the sender to wait for some time, it will be sending 1 over here. So this is done from the receiver side. So you see in the green it is a receiver, and in the font with the black is a sender. Okay, so we have seen the flow status. Now the block size. The block size will say how many consecutive at one how many after how many consecutive bytes you need to get the flow control. So we'll discuss more when we discuss the consecutive frame. So that will be here, and then we have the stmin parameter. So stmin also we'll see when we see the flow consecutive frame. So in consecutive frame, the ID is 2 with the sequence number. So in this example, we have first sent the data. Here we have put up the length. Here we have put up the data which we want to send. The receiver has sent the flow control, and after the flow control, the sender will send the remaining chunk of data. So it will continue from 6 7 8 9 10. But before that we have it will be sending the ID of the consecutive frame and the sequence number. So the sequence number will start from 2 1, then it will go 2 2 2 3 2 4 2 5 up till 2f, and again it will go to 2 0 2 1 2 2 2 3 2 4 likewise. So the first after the consecutive frame, after the first frame, the next data what the sender will be sending will be from the 2 1. then we have the data, and then after sending 0D, it will again send uh, 22, which is the second sequence number, and then the next data. So if the block size would have been configured 1, so in this case, after sending this 21 07 up till 0D, it will again be waiting for the flow control to come. But since the block size is 0, uh, it will keep on sending the consecutive frame, and it will not wait for the flow control. If the flow control would have been 2, it will be sending 2 uh, consecutive frame and then again wait for the flow control. So this way you can which you can visualize more better on this picture. So here 3 consecutive frames are sent, so the block size is 3, and after block size of 3, it will be sending the flow control, and then again 3 consecutive frame, and again will be waiting for the flow control. So this is the way the whole communication will be there. Yeah, we have talked about the block size, and next this is the ST-min. So ST-min is the minimum time between the consecutive frame acknowledged and the next consecutive frame to be sent. So when the sender has sent the consecutive frame, uh, how much time the sender should wait before sending the consecutive frame is ST-min. Okay, many people confuse ST-min is the time between 2 consecutive frame, but in actual it is not. Consecutive ST-min is uh, the when the sender sends the consecutive frame and the time when it gets the acknowledgement till the next consecutive frame is sent. So that is ST-min. If ST-min is configured 0, immediately after sending the first consecutive frame, it will send the second consecutive frame. So here we'll be looking into the CAN-TP timing. So I feel you might have got the basic idea of how the communication will be there, how we'll be sending more than 8 bytes of data. So we'll look into more detail with the CAN-TP timing. So whenever you are sending some byte of data, you are sending the first frame. As we have just seen in the CAN, whenever you are sending something, you are getting the acknowledgement. Okay, so if you are sending the first frame, uh, it will check like how much time it till it has got the acknowledgement. So that is NAS time. So if you are sent the first frame, and if it has not got the acknowledgement till a particular time, the NAS time can get elapsed. So whenever the sender is sending something, it will be waiting for NAS time. The NAS time can fail if the bus load is too high or if there is any communication failure. Okay, so when you are coding for the CAN-TP, the first frame will go, and when the first frame has been received, it has to receive the data and should send the flow control in NBR time. Okay, so it has got the first frame. Now it should complete the whole process. The receiver should complete the whole process of sending the flow control till NBR time. When the receiver has got the first frame, and it has so it will be sending the flow control. The flow control acknowledgement should come under NAR time. So just like NAS, when you have sent something and you can wait till a particular NAS time. If the data is not sent until till the NAS time, the whole communication will abort. So the same way, whenever the receiver sends the flow control, it will wait for maximum NAR time. So before the NAR time elapse, the flow control should be sent. After the flow control, so yeah, one more thing. Whenever the first frame it will be sent, the sender will wait for NBS time. The sender will wait for the NBS time to receive the flow control. So in coding, actually, what happens whenever you are getting the acknowledgement, you are getting an hardware interrupt. You are getting an hardware interrupt, which will actually tell you the which will tell you the data which you have sent. It has got the acknowledgement or not. In the same way, whenever you will be getting any data, you will be getting an interrupt. So here, when the flow control has been received, uh, it will stop. It will just check whether it has got the data in NBS time or not. If it has not got it within the NBS time, again, this error will be put and the whole communication will be aborted. So after the flow control has been received, it has to send the next consecutive frame and in NCS time. So uh, after when it has sent the consecutive frame, it will again wait for the NAS time till the data is actually he has got the acknowledgement for the consecutive frame he has sent. So this will follow for the whole process for the next set of instructions. So this is clear for everyone. Uh, the CAN TP timing. Hello.
We
So
have moved to the previous slide, no?
okay.
On.
Yes. Yes, one more thing on this. So we are having error for four types: NAS, NAR, NBS, NCR. But we are not having error for NBR or NCS. So the reason is this NBR time is actually the coder responsibility or the code responsibility to send the data within this NBR time. So so there will be no error for this timing parameter. That error will be mainly associated with the line. So if you are sending something and if you are not got the acknowledgement, it can be due to any fault in the line. So that is the NAS time and the NAR time and the NBS.
Okay, okay. Then suppose NCS time is fixed, and suppose someone hasn't sent the consecutive frame in that time. Okay, after receiving the response, like in
Okay.
NCS. Okay,
NCS. Okay.
NCS. So suppose we received the response. Okay, and
Flow control.
there is a stipulated time of the control, and there is a stipulated time that in this time you have to again show the first consecutive frame.
Yeah.
Okay. So suppose if in the software by something there's problem, like in that time period you couldn't send the consecutive frame, then what will happen? Like you said, there is no error. So then how the
Yeah.
behavior will be?
So that is the coder responsibility to actually send the data.
Okay,
So
okay,
it will not be. So if you are not doing it, maybe that will be some DT error or something. But this
okay,
NCS,
detail. Okay,
yeah, this NCS should be achieved by your software. You cannot achieve this NAS time. You cannot because that is dependent on the line. That is dependent on the physical medium where the data will be sent. But for this NBR and CS, it's your responsibility to send the data when you actually have got the flow control.
okay, fine.
Any so this is all from the CAN TP. Yeah, one more thing uh, into this CAN TP is you have to configure the timing parameters. So estimin the block size. If you have any configurator, if you are using any configurator, you will when you configure the CAN TP module, you will be configuring the block size, the estimin, and this timing parameters. NAS, NBR, NCS. So all this is mentioned in ISO 15652. So
Okay,
so the CAN TP is if you open the ISO 15652, uh, the CAN TP is on the network layer. So you can actually start reading from this 7 7.1 to all till all. So this will be regarding to the CAN TP. So you'll come across some words like PDU, PCI, SDU. So what is PDU is data, the whole data from here to here, uh, here to here, sorry, including this. PCI is the extra data which you are actually putting,
Okay.
like this one. And SDU is the data which you want to put.
Okay.
So when you read through this document, this will be the PCI and SDU.
Okay.
Anything more?
Uh, no, sir.